Amitabh Kant, thanks a lot for joining us on NDTV today. The government move to allow this lateral entry into these joint secretary levels post has evoked a huge debate. What would you say are the advantages of this, Mr. Kant?
Nidhi, we've been trying this out in NITI Aayog for the last 2 years. We've got a large number of people who've made lateral entry here. And our experience here has been extremely good. They bring in a lot of fresh and vibrant ideas. They generate a lot of forward thinking. And, when you merge this together with people who've come from the field, the UPSC entrants go and work into the field. And they've done some remarkable work against all odds in terms of taking the country forward. And they have a lot of unique experience in terms of social schemes being implemented on ground. And when you combine this together, you have a unique combination. And I think there was a need to do this lateral entry. We need to merge and combine the two. And I think it's a very welcome change. This was long overdue in government. I think we needed to change that status quo to get a lot of fresh ideas. The world is moving at a very rapid pace. You have a lot of huge amount of disruption taking place across the world. Areas of artificial intelligence, blockchain, tremendous amount of unique things happening. And I think the government must be able to tap into all this through lateral change.
Yeah. Mr. Kant, are there any minimum qualifications, that are required? Because when you look at the order, all that it says is that individuals working at comparable levels in the private sector, consultancy organizations, MNCs, with a minimum of 15 years experience qualify. But is there a minimum academic qualification or something?
Yeah, I think the important thing is that there has to be a lot of flexibility to allow people to apply to the government. And rightly so, the government has said that comparable levels, because you'll have people with very vast amount of qualification, people with PhD degrees, people with huge amount of field experience, people who've done some unique work across the world and in India. Let them all apply and let that shortlisting be done. The important thing is to do the process in a very transparent, very competitive manner. The selection must be very merit-based, and that's why the government has put this out, all this in a public domain. So I don't think we should be very rigid about this. I think you'll get a people with a lot of qualifications. You'll get people with doctorates, people with postdoctoral work, people who've done some unique work in the field, people who've done a huge amount of work in the private sector, people who've done work in international organizations, people who've done work in NGOs. All that expertise and knowledge, we should allow that to come in and let that shortlisting be done by a professional committee.
Well, what happens, Mr. Kant, though, to the sanctity of the UPSC exam, which is actually a pretty rigorous exam?
No, the UPSC examination continues. I think it's a very, very rigorous, very professionally conducted examination. And we do the selection over, there are 450 odd posts of joint secretaries. Everyone comes through the process of UPSC, but there are a number of people who don't either sit for UPSC or who've gone and done different kind of things at that particular point of time. They've either gone and done an MBA, or they've gone and done a PhD abroad, or they've gone to MIT or Harvard or Princeton, or they've gone to Ahmedabad, or they've gone and done different things. They've done their own businesses or joined the private sector. Why should government not tap into that energy? Why should government not tap into that knowledge? Why should government not tap into that expertise on a later date? So UPSC continues. So out of 450 plus posts of joint secretaries, if we allow lateral entry at this stage of 10 joint secretaries, I think it'll bring in a lot of good ideas and generate a lot of there'll be a lot of vibrancy. And this has actually been happening quite a bit. If you look at even at the secretary level, if you look at the secretary water resources, he was brought in, he was working with the World Bank and was brought in Paramaya. Or if you look at the new National Health Protection Scheme, Indu Bhushan, who's been brought in to head that, has huge experience of health, but he was working with the Asian Development Bank and he's been brought in. And this is a lateral entry into government. I remember a long time back, you know, when I was a young officer, very young officer in the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Rakesh Mohan then used to be the economic advisor, and we used to sit in his room and learn a lot from him. So government has for years been doing this lateral entry.
Well,
I mean,
that's true. But Mr. Kant, there has been some concern in some quarters that doing this would allow the government to hire ideologically like-minded people. You have critics of the BJP, for instance, like the Congress's PL Punya, who has said that this was a way to sabotage the system, that the RSS and some corporates, as he put it, can then influence the government directly from inside. What would you say to those people who have raised these concerns?
No, I said this, that important thing is that government has gone about it in a very transparent manner. It has put this advertisement out in public domain. The process must be very transparent. It must be merit-based selection. It must be very competitive. And I'm quite sure, I'm absolutely sure, the government will follow a very transparent process, merit-based. And you'll get some of the finest people in the world to be selected to come and work for Government of India. And I think they will all add, and I'm absolutely sure that the process will be very unique. And you will see these people will make a huge contribution to Government of India in the days to come.
Mr. Kant, right now it's 10 joint secretary level posts. I think the question is this going to be expanded if it works? And is this a step towards a committed bureaucracy?
No, it's not a step towards committed bureaucracy at all. Nidhi, you're totally off the mark. I think it's a step in the right direction. It's a step to bring in professionalism. It's a step to bring in great new young ideas. And it's important that actually we do this at the directors level. We need many more directors. There's a huge vacuum. There's a large vacancy of people at the directors level. And let me tell you that based on my own experience of NITI Aayog has been greatly enriched by bringing in lateral entry. I think we've combined experience of the ground by officers coming in from the field level and that of young people coming in. We have a huge number of lateral entry and a lot of young professionals here. They've contributed to making NITI a very vibrant, dynamic and a very lively organization. And that's what Government of India must be all about. The status quo must be changed. There must be many more risks to be taken, and that will happen if we have people with field experience and those who come with different kind of backgrounds all working together to create a dynamic India.
Mr. Amitabh Kant, thanks very much for joining us. Thank you.